Okay, so you guys sent in some really juicy stuff this week.
Yeah,
A lot to unpack,
lots to unpack.
all surrounding NBA player Anthony Edwards.
Yes.
And all of the drama going on in his personal life,
Yeah.
particularly with the mothers of his children.
Right.
A lot of legal battles. We've got a lot of social media, commentary, gossip.
You
And
do.
I mean, we've got a whole bunch of stuff. We've got YouTube videos. We've got articles. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the whole 9 yards.
We've got the makings of a very interesting deep dive here.
Yeah. So the whole mission here is to try and figure out what's actually happening.
Yeah.
What's real, what's
Right.
rumor, what's speculation, and ultimately try to understand what it all says about, not only Anthony Edwards, but just how we're talking about these things.
Right, right.
Right. Well, how are we framing these stories?
Absolutely.
Okay. So we start off. The first thing we have is this video. It's a Rodney Ty voice video
Right.
where he's breaking down this Daily Mail article,
Yeah.
which is reporting that Anthony Edwards has filed a paternity lawsuit
That's correct.
against his ex-girlfriend,
Yes.
Alexandria DeRoche's Allie D.
Mm-hmm.
And this is all happening while he's in another legal battle
Yes, he is.
with Aisha Howard, who is another former partner.
That's right.
So, I mean, this is I guess this happens. I don't know. It's not my world,
Yeah.
but it's very complicated right off the bat.
Absolutely.
So the Daily Mail says that he admits to fathering a child with Alexandria.
Yes.
And the child was conceived and born in Georgia, but the mother and the child now live in New York.
Right.
And so Anthony Edwards is trying to have the paternity and the child support all determined in Georgia.
That's right.
And Rodney Tyvois, he points out that, Georgia has very different laws when it comes to this kind of stuff, compared to a New York or California.
And the difference can be significant.
Yeah, so Rodney's interpretation of this
Mm-hmm.
is that Anthony Edwards is strategically trying to, get this all taken care of in Georgia.
Yeah.
So that he's paying potentially less child support
Right.
than he would have to if it was determined,
Another state.
in another state. And he kind of characterizes it as Anthony Edwards just trying to fulfill a financial obligation.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't really care about the co-parenting. He just wants to do the bare minimum, basically.
Right.
That's his take on it. So moving on to Aisha Howard.
Mm-hmm.
We've got, again, more Daily Mail. We've got the Shade Room, essentially sports.
Yeah.
Rodney Tyvois touches on it as well. So
Mm-hmm.
this is a more well-known, I guess, public
Yeah.
situation.
Right.
And so she filed a paternity suit, but she filed it in California,
That's right. She did.
which right away, Edwards was like, no. We need to do a genetic test, and it needs to be done in Georgia. And he claimed that, she only moved to California to try and get more money in the child support settlement.
Exactly.
But she denies that, of course.
He does.
She says that she moved months before, their child was even born.
Yes.
Which, I mean, this is all according to the reports and the, the legal filings and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So it's her word against his word.
Absolutely.
And their child, her name's Aubrey Summers Howard.
Mm-hmm.
She was born on October 14th, 2024.
Okay.
And Edwards has very specifically said that he's not looking for custody or visitation rights.
Wow.
So, further supporting that idea that he maybe just wants to write a check and be done with it.
Right.
Rodney Tyvois,
Mhm.
again, brings up Anthony Edwards' financial situation. He's made over $44 million in his career.
Yeah. He's doing pretty well for himself.
And he's got this huge contract extension with the Timberwolves, $244 million.
Yeah. That's a lot of money.
So he's not exactly hurting for cash.
No.
Now, there was this rumor going around
Yeah.
that he offered to pay 18 years of child support up front.
Right. I saw that one.
The Shade Room and essentially Sports both mentioned this.
Yep.
It looks like it started on X, formerly known as Twitter,
Right.
when someone just tweeted it out.
Yeah.
And the Shade Room even put a number on it. I think they said 1.8 million or something like that.
Right.
That was supposed to be the lump sum. But Aisha Howard has denied this
She has.
through her Instagram story, exclusive to the Shade Room.
Yep.
And she really pushed back against this,
She did.
saying it was all lies and, questioning where this was even coming from.
Right. Right.
And both the Shade Room and essentially Sports have said, that she's denied it.
Yeah.
So I mean, who knows where the truth is, but it seems like it's not true.
It's definitely a he said, she said situation at this point.
Yeah, exactly. Now, okay, we're going to get into some more
Sensitive?
sensitive territory.
Yeah. Yeah.
There were some alleged text messages that were leaked between Anthony Edwards and Aisha Howard.
Oh, wow.
And In Touch Weekly covered this, and there was a big Reddit thread discussing it. And these texts, they're really not painting Anthony Edwards in a good light.
What do they say?
They show him, like, telling her to get the abortion and, like, saying he doesn't want to be in the child's life at all.
Oh, wow.
The Reddit thread is just full of people, like, really upset about this, calling him a deadbeat, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. That's pretty harsh.
It's pretty harsh.
And to think about the child,
Yeah.
like what kind of impact that's going to have on the child
Right.
down the road.
And some people were, like, really reading into the text themselves.
Oh, really?
Like, they were saying that Aisha Howard was writing in, like, complete sentences.
Yeah.
Like, proper grammar and everything. And Anthony Edwards was just, like, these short, like
wow.
1-2 word answers.
Yeah.
So some people are, like, extrapolating from that, saying, like, oh, this shows, he's not really, like, taking it seriously.
Yeah.
And people are, like, comparing this situation to other athletes, like Nick Cannon and Sean Kemp and Antonio Cromartie.
Yeah, those are
who all have, like, a lot of kids with a lot of different women.
Right. Yeah, that's a pattern, unfortunately.
And someone even suggested that, like, NBA players need to get some kind of, like,
contraception training.
yeah, like contraception training.
Oh, wow.
Which,
I mean,
after reading these texts, it's like, yeah, maybe that's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
And someone pointed out that this isn't even the first time, allegedly,
really?
that text messages from Anthony Edwards about abortion have been leaked. So, like, that's a pattern,
That is a pattern.
And it's concerning. There's this other part of the texts where Aisha Howard is like, do you hate me?
Oh my God.
And he says that he doesn't hate her, but he doesn't want the child because the child will be, quote unquote, without a father.
Wow.
And that's rough.
That's really rough.
The Shade Room also talked about this exchange in their article, and it kind of shows you the emotional weight of all of this.
Absolutely.
It's not just about the legal stuff. It's about the actual people involved and like their feelings.
Right.
So now we're getting to a pretty interesting part of this.
Okay.
Where the Reddit discussion, it really takes, I don't know, a darker turn, I guess.
Okay.
They start talking about Aisha Howard and, like, calling her a professional baby mother.
Oh, wow.
Which is, yeah. So they point out that she's 38 years old. She also has a child with the rapper Lil Baby.
Right.
So they're, like, labeling her with these really, I don't know, just negative.
Loaded.
Yeah, loaded terms.
Yeah. Right.
And then someone else, like, chimed in and was like, why are all these NBA players choosing to be with these kinds of women?
Mm-hmm.
And another person came in and said, well, maybe it's because these are the women who are available.
Right.
And, like, they're perceived as being discreet.
Yeah.
So it's a whole other, like, level of
commentary
and judgment, I guess.
Yeah, and it's speculation.
Yeah.
To some degree, right? We don't know.
We don't know the specifics.
Like why these people make the decisions they make.
Exactly.
There are a lot of factors that go into these things.
Now, essentially sports. They mentioned Anthony Edwards' current partner.
Okay.
Jeanine Robel.
Yeah.
And she's been, like, posting on her Instagram.
Oh, really?
Showing her spending time with their daughter, Aislinn.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like she's just, like, totally separate from all of this drama.
Wow.
And she even, like, posted some lyrics from a He Aiko song, saying things like, calm and patient, satisfied with life, I thrive, cannot relate to the hate.
Oh.
So, you could interpret that as her being like, I'm good.
Right.
I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm not letting this stuff get to me.
Yeah, I'm staying out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So, okay, we're nearing the end of this whole deep dive.
Yeah.
And it's clear that, like, the legal system is, going to do what it's going to do. They're going to, like, sort out the money.
Right.
But it's so much more complicated than that.
Oh, absolutely.
All of these sources, they show us, like, all these different sides of the story.
Yeah.
We've got the legal arguments. We've got the social media commentary. We've got these little glimpses into, like, the personal lives of the people involved.
Yeah.
And it's really up to us to, like, decide what we think about it all.
Absolutely.
And in the case of Aisha Howard and her daughter,
Yeah.
it seems like based on his own court statements, Anthony Edwards is only focused on the money. Like he doesn't seem to be interested in being a father in any other way.
Wow.
So that's something to think about too.
It is.
So there you have it. We've gone through a lot.
We have.
We've looked at lawsuits and rumors and social media and all sorts of different things.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest takeaway here is that this is all really complicated.
It is.
And there are no easy answers.
No easy answer.
So here's what I want you guys to consider.
Okay.
What does this whole situation say about, like, wealth and fame
Mm-hmm.
and personal responsibility?
Yeah.
And, like, what happens to kids when their lives are played out in public?
Right.
What are the implications for society when these very personal things become, like, everyone's business?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's something worth thinking about.
I agree. It's definitely more than just headlines and rumors.
Exactly.
There's a lot more to it.
All right. Well, on that note, we're going to wrap things up here. As always, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
See you.